Imagine if players like Messi, Neymar, or Cristiano Ronaldo were forced to play like robots. No flair, no improv, just strict and clear instructions. Would football still be the beautiful game today? However, modern tactics are shifting towards super strict systems that remove players from their natural way of playing the game. Take Felipe Coutinho as an example. At Liverpool, he was a legit wizard, a crazy orchestrator on the pitch, if you will. He scored long-range bangers, had exceptional dribbling, and some pretty good vision. But after moving to Barcelona, he was forced into a role that never suited his playing style. And after that, he was never the same player again. This over-systemization has reduced football's charm. In this video, we will take a look at why it's harming the game, from removing individual creativity to making football less appealing to fans. Alright, let's get right into it. I feel like today, individual flair and originality have decreased in modern football as super strict systems have become more and more essential. Players today are typically assigned roles and routines which really limit their freedom to improvise and express themselves on the field. French defender Raphael Varane noticed this pattern and said to a news publication in France called L'Equipe, and he said, "There is much less creativity in football, fewer geniuses on the pitch. Everything is robotic. There are game patterns that make it difficult to shake up a team's block. There is much less freedom now." Jack Grealish serves as an excellent example. At Aston Villa, he was a game changer type of player. He was gliding past defenders, created a lot of chances, and scored some pretty crucial goals. He was a heartbeat of the team, and his performances were so exciting that Manchester City sacrificed £100 million to sign him. But under Pep Guardiola's structured system, Grealish lost that spark. Instead of taking down defenders and breaking down defenses, as he did at Aston Villa, he now prefers to play it safe, dribbling a little bit before passing it back to the left back or to the central midfielder. The unpredictability that made him so unique at Villa appears to have been erased in a system that values control over creative thinking. Another great example of this is Eden Hazard. Hazard was a free-spirited attacker who thrived in a system where freedom was a given. Whether it was under Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Mauricio Sarri, Hazard was always a creative force on that team. Under Mourinho, he played as a left winger in a 4-2-3-1, given full license to take on defenders and create chances while being protective defensively by a solid midfield duo of Frank Lampard, Johnny Obi Mikel, Nemanja Matic, and even Cesc Fabregas. Under Conte's era, he played as an inside forward in a 3-4-3, benefiting from wingbacks stretching the field, allowing him to cut inside and attack the box freely. Under Sarri's system, he played as a false nine at times, or as a left winger in a 4-3-3, where he had even more freedom to roam and dictate Chelsea's attack. In every single setup, Chelsea built their attack around Hazard, allowing him to drop deep, drift inside, and take on defenders without the hassle of too many defensive responsibilities, his least favorite thing. However, when he moved to Real Madrid in 2019, things changed, and quickly. Real Madrid's 4-3-3 system under Zidane was built around positional play, relying heavily on fullbacks like Marcelo and Carvajal for width, while the front three had to operate in specific zones. Unlike Chelsea, Madrid's wingers were expected to stay wide and release the ball quickly, rather than carrying the ball over long distances. Additionally, Hazard had to fit into a system already centered around Karim Benzema, who operated as a false nine, often dropping deep to link play. Instead of Hazard being the creative focal point like he was at Chelsea, he became a secondary option, or even a third option, asked to keep possession, combine in tight spaces, and press without the ball. A huge difference to his free-flowing role at Chelsea. Injuries didn't help either, but even when fit, Hazard never looked like the same player. The Madrid system demanded efficiency over flair, restricting the dribbling and risk-taking that made him so special. So in the end, Jack Grealish at Manchester City and Eden Hazard at Real Madrid are just two examples of how systemization can strip players from their brilliance. When players are forced into these rigid, strict, tactical roles, it really limits their ability to take on risks and really express themselves on the pitch. and also to create these magical moments that we are always looking for. And with that leads me to my next point. Modern football's obsession with tactical discipline isn't just killing creativity, it's also slowing player development. When young players are forced to strictly follow roles instead of developing their instincts, their growth can be severely limited. A prime example of this is Joao Felix at Atlético de Madrid under Diego Simeone. When Felix arrived in 2019 for 126 million pounds, he was one of the most exciting young talents in football. A free, dynamic attacker who thrived on a lot of flair, dribbling, and creativity. At Benfica, he played as a secondary striker, drifting into space, linking up play, and scoring some goals pretty easily. But at Atletico, he was thrown into Simeone's disciplined 4-4-2 boring ass system, which demanded a lot of defensive work, tactical discipline, and quick structured passing. And instead of developing into a world-class playmaker, Felix struggled, and he struggled a lot. Most of the time, he looked frustrated on the pitch, not being able to show the skills that made him really special at Benfica. Even in interviews, he's hinted sometimes about the restrictions he's faced at Atletico. It was clear that he was not playing the way he wanted to play. And this is what happens when a young player goes into a system that does not allow him to express himself freely. Instead of developing into an elite playmaker, Felix became a player searching for a system that suited him, bouncing from loan spells at Chelsea to Barcelona, where he finally started to regain some of his creativity. In contrast, we could take a look at a player like Lamine Yamal at Barcelona, a player who is thriving precisely because he isn't restricted by a system. At just 16 years old, Yamal is already playing with confidence and freedom of a professional. Unlike Felix at Atletico, Yamal is pretty much encouraged to take on risks, and also with that includes beating on defenders and making some pretty bold decisions in the final third. Yes, he plays in a system that prioritizes positional play, but I think Barcelona still gives him the freedom to express himself, just like how Messi was developed as well. And instead of being forced into a defensive structure, Yamal is being nurtured by his team that lets him learn by doing, which is pretty common. And this also includes by making those mistakes. And with that, it obviously comes to improve naturally. His development is proof that young players need the freedom to explore and not be molded into stiff-ass robots earlier in their careers. Players develop their skills when they have the freedom to make these sorts of decisions rather than just following instructions. I feel like today, young players can follow two specific paths, as you can see from Joao Felix and Lamine Yamal. One is obviously slowed down by structured systems, whereas the other has been amazing in a system that lets him be himself. So how many future footballers are we losing because of this structured driven system? A very good question if you were to ask me. Now, let's go on to my last question of the video. Football is about more than just winning. It's about entertainment, passion, and the moment. But as tactical systems become more and more rigid and structured, the game is losing the magic that made millions fall in love with it in the first place. Yes, teams today are winning convincingly with these systems, but at what cost? Clubs like Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and Atlético de Madrid have dominated their leagues with structured, tactical precision. But if you were to ask the fans, are they truly enjoying the way they are doing it? Look at the difference in how people talk about football a decade ago. Fans reminisce of the times when Messi, Ronaldo, and Ronaldinho had the freedom to take on defenders, pull off insane skills, and create a play out of nothing. Now we rarely see players with that level of freedom. So instead, wingers are often instructed to play it safe, recycle the possession, and press in organized patterns. This lack of freedom isn't just killing creativity, it's slowing young players before they even reach their peak. Football used to be about moments, but when you systemize players too much, you remove the unpredictability that makes those moments happen. While teams may be more efficient and structured than ever, fans are left craving the raw, unfiltered brilliance that once made football the beautiful game. So my question to you is, are we willing to sacrifice the soul of football for the sake of tactical perfection? Look, I get it. Tactics and systems are a huge part of football in the modern day of today. They help teams win, create structure, and they also maximize efficiency, like if that actually mattered, I guess. But at what cost? And also, let's be real for a little bit. Fans like you and me aren't watching the game to watch these boring ass systems. If I were you, I want football that is entertaining, fast-paced, with a lot of goals. Wouldn't you agree? We watch football because we want to see moments of brilliance, and it makes sense why we want that. Like Messi dribbling through a whole bunch of defenders, or like Ronaldo taking a banger from a free kick. Things like that made us fall in love with the game. But the way the game is heading right now, how many more players like that are we actually going to see? If we keep over systemizing everything, then we're going to lose that very thing that made this sport special. So I'll leave you with this. Do we want football to be this sort of controlled game, or do we want it to be the game that made us fall in love with it in the first place? Now, if you want to see male pretty privilege in football, click the video up above or down below in the comments. Not comments, in the description. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I love making these sorts of videos. I always say this sort of thing at the end, but I truly do appreciate you. And if you want to support me, I believe there's a way to do it. I think there's a membership type of thing, because I would want to continue doing this until I die, because I love football that much. I love talking about these sorts of intricate topics. I feel like that tingles my thing. It's like my sort of decompressing that I have during the week. So if you want to support me, you have that for sure, because I definitely lose money by making these sorts of videos, but I feel like a hobby that I have, and it's totally fine if you don't. So yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.